Had a fabulous event here in Birmingham this morning with Tom Bloxham, who of course is the head honcho at Urbansplash, a fabulous, innovative property developer and entrepreneur, a guy whose fascinating business journey has taken him from selling records and posters and retail into bars, restaurants, hotels, but clearly most successfully into the property world. We've heard from Tom Bloxham this morning in terms of some of his ideas and the initiatives that Urbansplash have been involved in, and in particular you asked him a question about his advice to the mayoral candidates and housing. Can you just explain what that issue is about and how you felt Tom dealt with it?
Yeah, well, I asked Tom a question that in the first 100 days as a Midlands mayor, what strategy does the mayor need to kickstart their housing ambitions? Now, the mayoral candidates all have 4 key areas: housing, transport, jobs and skills. So just looking at housing and Tom's experience, he showed a presentation and he illustrated a factory where they literally construct houses off-site, deliver them and assemble them in a single day. And I noticed that the mayoral candidates in their leaflets and presentations and their flyers, what they did, they had high-vis jackets and hard hats and they were troweling bricks. And I thought, well, maybe they don't realise that in order to meet their ambitions on housing, they need to adopt these new strategies of, building houses off-site and getting them delivered. It may be the only way that they can deliver on their housing promises. So I asked Tom, I said, well, what would you recommend? What would be your strategy for the winning mayor on their first 100 days? And Tom said 2 key things. He said to build a task force for housing, and secondly, to work in partnership with the landowners.
And I thought, aside from the specific issues that he spoke about today, a fascinating tale about his business journey.
Yeah, a fascinating introduction on how he got into business from selling posters. He mentioned the iconic poster of the tennis player scratching her backside. What he didn't mention was that photograph was actually taken in Birmingham, at the University of Birmingham.
Really?
That's right, yeah, okay. Yeah. And he asked whether, does Birmingham have more canals than Venice? It does, 30% more.
Yeah.
Amazing thing we learned today about Tom's background was from starting from very humble backgrounds. There is an island in Birmingham where he's developing housing. Who knew that you can have island living in the middle of Birmingham city centre?
Yeah. So fascinating journey, and he was obviously talking a lot about brand, and Urbansplash has got a strong brand, and we obviously came round to the discussion about the brand of Birmingham and how this part of the world should be pushing and marketing itself. I know you and I share the view that Birmingham should be the attack brand for the Midlands.
Yeah.
And again, I think he was in agreement with that, wasn't he?
Oh, completely in agreement with that. He said also, brand is not just the name and the font, it's the vision. One thing he mentioned about Manchester, which I thought was fascinating, because they've had a transformation in terms of the brand and the perception. He said that Manchester as a name, as a brand, they weren't competing with Leeds and Lancashire. They were competing with Barcelona, Sydney, the major cities in the world. And I think here in the Midlands, Birmingham is such a powerful brand, and we see ourselves competing with Mumbai and New York and St. Petersburg, which are all the world's major second cities. We've got to be competing with those and not with Manchester and London and Sheffield.